using someone's pronoun is a mark of respect. That's not true.
Well, that's a hell of an opener. A premise like that needs some substantiation. Let's see where this goes.
Now, it took me a while to formulate this because if someone comes up to you on the street and says, "Why do you use pronouns?" It's like you're taken aback. How the hell do you know? Why do you use he and she?
I think a good answer to the question is we try to correctly label the individual you're applying the pronoun to in order to let others know who you're talking about.
Because everyone does. And that's how language works, right? You do what everyone else does. Otherwise, your language wouldn't be comprehensible.
Languages, of course, are a way of interpreting the world. I am sure, however, that Professor Peterson would agree that language changes over time to capture new ideas.
First of all, my referring to you as he has zero to do with respect.
I agree that referring to a man as he is not necessarily showing that man a sign of respect. I refer to every person I meet who fits the biologically and societally accepted form of either he or she as that pronoun until informed that my gender label of that person was indeed incorrect. Let's think of it this way. Would Professor Peterson or any other man feel disrespected if he was referred to as she even after he had informed the speaker that he was in fact a man? Would a woman feel disrespected at being called a man in the same circumstance?
It is the most perfunctory and casual form of classification possible.
True, but wouldn't that be the same for names? We don't use each other's names as a sign of respect. We merely use them as a tool to determine which human we are speaking about. I find it unlikely that Mr. Peterson would find it perfectly acceptable for a student to call him Mr. Monkeybird, even after that student had learned that his real name was Peterson.
There's 4 billion he's and 4 billion she's, and so when I refer to you as he, I'm referring to you as a member of a very large herd.
There are literally hundreds of thousands of people in the U.S. named Jim Smith. Does that mean that every time I refer to an individual with this name that I am referring to that person as a member of a herd of Jim Smiths?
The next issue is, well, what if someone wants to be called something different than what everyone else wants to be called? Not my problem.
I suppose getting his name right isn't the problem of any of his students either.
You can't impose a restriction on how I'm going to do that. Why would I bother even interacting with you then?
Yes, absolutely. Nobody should have the right to demand you use the language they approve of. Language does not change by fiat. It changes due to societal pressure. The word dude became popular not because surfers demanded people started speaking that way, but because they were cool and people wanted to be like them.
And I don't see that you have any right whatsoever to demand from me any particular type of linguistic preferential treatment. And you certainly have no right to demand from me my respect. I don't know if you're respectable.
Bingo! Again, I want to emphasize that I agree with Professor Peterson in that I think it is absolutely ridiculous to demand that people use your pronouns. You may shun them if they do not respect your particular linguistic preferences, and if society as a whole agrees with you, they will shun the person you are shunning as well. My disagreement with Professor Peterson is that he does not accept that people may feel disrespected if you tell him the proper pronoun you wish to be referred to by, and he still continues to use whichever pronoun he wishes. The problem is that so-called non-binary genders have gotten so out of hand with more than 70 available genders on Tumblr that it is virtually impossible, even for pronoun Nazis on the left, to keep them all straight. From here on, I agree with the professor's assertions, but this one just seemed to fall short.